Hi, I just wanted to come on here and normalize not being okay on Father's Day. So, this is my first holiday having social media again, or being present on social media again, I should say. And yeah, I cried today a good amount. And yesterday was my mother's birthday. Today's obviously Father's Day. It hurts a lot because my children don't have a dad, and I don't have a dad. We have biological fathers. It's definitely hard, to say the least. Um, especially because it's just me. And I have that reminder constantly. Like today, I was like, we're going to celebrate. And I took my kids to Martha's Vineyard, and a lot of trauma is linked, even just from like last year, because last year I went with my mom to Martha's Vineyard, and one of my sisters and my mom were just talking about how, oh, you can't do this, like you need mom to go with you, you are incapable of doing this by yourself, you have to have her come with you. And when my mom decided to, yes, come with me, it was just, if I wasn't here, you would have strangers be doing this for you. And so, yeah, I went today by myself with my kids, and a lot of strangers were very kind, but it was a constant reminder. Like, some people at the beach were like, Happy Father's Day to your father. And my 5-year-old is like, we don't have a dad. Okay. It's so awkward because then people are like staring at me. And I get stared at pretty regularly anyway because I have a 5-year-old, a 2-year-old, and a 1-year-old, and it's just me. So, like, even when it's not Father's Day, people are like, ooh, you must have your hands full. And I'm like, yeah. Like, obviously, but yeah, so it's definitely important to, when you have abusers in your life that are family, it's been very liberating to go back to certain places and change the memory. So although there really were no complaints, in full disclosure, last year when I went to Martha's Vineyard with my mom, I mean, there were a couple of normal type abusive comments, but for the most part, like, it's one of my last cherished memories with my mom. But now being at the other end of things, yeah, it's it just hits differently, because I see it through a different lens now. And I don't know, like, walking on the same surfaces can be liberating. And I'm taking control back in my life when I'm doing that. So, yeah, it was definitely great. Just like going on the ferry with my kids. And I mean, my 5-year-old was definitely very straightforward to people. Like when they'd be like, oh, you don't have, where's your dad? Oh, you say, we don't have a dad. I'm like, he just like shuts it down so quickly. But literally driving to the Cape, I was crying. Like, I listened to K-Love, and it's a Christian radio station, and you know, the people on the radio are all about, you know, whenever it's a Mother's Day, Father's Day thing, um, it's all about the dads. I'm sure other radio stations do that too, but K-Love's the only radio station I listen to. And then they hardly have commercials, so it goes straight to Christian music. And I love Christian music, and I'll belt out, and it is so comforting. Very comforting music. This was like, it's okay to fall apart. It's okay to not be okay. I'm bawling my eyes out driving to the Cape. I'm trying to hold back my tears. Yeah. You know, because it's like I miss the parents that I've been wanting my whole life for. Because there were glimpses of good moments with my parents. You know, like they were there. And then the abuse would set in. And everything would go away, and I'd be chasing, ever since I was a little kid, chasing for that love. And so when I went to, I'm literally rubbing pyrite. I went to a really amazing place on Martha's Vineyard today that it was right up my alley. Like I, you know, recently, yesterday, became a Reiki master. And I just got some new oracle reading cards for my clients and me. And I was drawn, they had a whole section of crystals, and I was drawn to the pyrite. And I haven't had one like this. I have like rough crystals, bigger ones, or I have like small ones, like circular ones. But this one's like a thumb one that you can rub, and this is like so comforting for me. Pyrite is a stone of protection that shields the user from negative energies and creates a protective shield. And it's like I walked into the store and pyrite was yelling at me to get it. I'm like, okay, clearly I need some pyrite in my life. And I'm new to crystals, new to Reiki, new to everything. And I'm learning so much. And it's like, I'm just so happy to have this. Because as I'm speaking this whole time, it's like, this is what's comforting me. I also walked in there for an incense holder because I needed, one of my friends gifted me some incense, and I hadn't used incense in years, you know, because there's some trauma linked to that as well, and the smell. But I'm reclaiming it, you know. So once she gifted me that, I'm like, I am going to use incense, and I've been using incense again. And I forgot that you need like an incense holder, and so that's really why I walked into this store. I first walked into another store and I was like, do you have an incense holder? And they were like, try next door. And I'm like, okay. And I walked in next door, and it was like the best store ever. It was literally everything I ever needed. So yeah, my 5-year-old wanted to get a stone that said mom on it. And so when we got home, I was like, Angela, where are you going to put it? And he goes, okay, I'll show you in a second. Okay, so I go upstairs, and he puts it like right on his clock, his little alarm clock, and it's like laying against, it was just so sweet. And before he went to bed, he wanted to have a conversation with me. You know, he's like, just a little confused. Like, yeah, me too, bud. He's like, everyone just kept talking about Father's Day today. It's not Father's Day. I'm like, it is Father's Day. You know? And he's like, well, it's Mother's Day. I'm like, yeah, well, it's really confusing, because even Mother's Day was hard for me. Like, obviously, like, I have my kids, and so, like, it was all about me. Like, it's all about me, you know? My kids know that, but it's like I have a mom. you know? And it's like I have this idea of the mom that I've always wanted. And like some of her was there, and then the other parts took over. And so it's very difficult because I don't have that. And it's like I've always just desperately wanted it. But today was extra hard because my kids don't have that either. And my 5-year-old it really hurts him. He's the one that has memories, good and bad. So it's very confusing for him. So tonight, in almost tears, he's like, I'm confused. And I'm crying at this point, being like, I'm confused too. And he's like, I'm scared and I'm worried and I'm, because he's in therapy, so he understands emotions very well. And he can call them what they are, and it's beautiful to see. I'm like, yeah, I'm sad and confused and angry about it too. I get it. So, yeah, it was hard because that's why I wanted to do something today and celebrate. And because even just going on social media, it's like everybody's talking about their dads, which is great. Like, I'm really happy for people because that's what you're supposed to have, But and then at the same time, it's like I see that, and it's like I was craving that my whole life, And I'd get little glimpses of a mom and a dad because deep down, they're in there. Like, everybody is in there. Like, we are all God's children, and we're all good people. So I think that's what has always been hard for me, and why I stayed with my children's father for so long, because I literally fell in love with the potential of who he could be. And I tried so hard to be like, but you're in there. You're in there. Like, you're there. And it would be so confusing because there were times, not many, but there were times when we would have conversations. And this one time he said to me, it's like I was in a hole, and for so long you were standing at the top of it, extending your arm out for me. And I never grabbed it, and I finally grabbed it. And it was when we bought a house together and things were going okay for like a couple weeks when he said that to me. And that's what's wicked confusing, is because they're in there. Like, everybody has this ability to be who we're all meant to be. Like, with everything I'm learning in Reiki and just my connection with God and the universe, and it's like we all have ourselves and we have our higher selves. And we are all capable of magical things. We are all capable of doing beautiful things in life. And that's what is so confusing, is because my mom is in there. My dad is in there. My children's father, he's in there. Where are they, though? And it's not up to me or anyone to pull them out. Like, for me, example, I was lost. Like, I had no idea who I was for the longest time. And I'm just now coming out, but that's because of me. I might have had some push by some people in my life, some being even my family. which is what makes it even more confusing. You know? So, yeah, tricky. Tomorrow's my parents' wedding anniversary. That's even more confusing. Because it's like they love each other, they hate each other, they love each other, they hate each other. But happy wedding anniversary. That's never made any sense to me. Then a week from tomorrow is my sister's birthday. That's just a very tough day. Not only because of the way our relationship has been, but because she's been in mourning as well. She lost a friend years ago on her birthday, and so it was hard for me to watch that, especially because of what we went through as kids. And one thing I witnessed her say a lot was she couldn't wait till her 18th birthday. Can't wait till my 18th birthday. Can't wait till my 18th birthday. And then her 18th birthday came and she lost her really, really, really close friend. So it was confusing for me because I was that annoying little sister who just wanted to be friends with my siblings' friends. Like, I just wanted to be liked, I wanted attention, and I just wanted anybody to like me. And so, because our house was so small and people were on top of one another all the time, it was like, I mentioned that we shared a girl's room, so me and my sisters shared a room, and so when they had sleepovers, it was like, I'm part of this too, guys. And so, you know, this friend would be there. And all of my siblings' friends, I saw them as my friends, even though they weren't. So when this friend passed, it was really confusing for me because in a way, I still needed attention. So I made it all about me in so many ways when it had nothing to do with me. So it's just tricky. And around this same time is when I found out I was pregnant with my son 6 years ago. So there's just a ton of different things as to why my emotions are all over the place. But yeah, I think it's important to just be honest, as I struggled with that for a lot of my life. And I just want to be raw, vulnerable, open. I want to process as well. I know I've been on lives a lot and making reels, and you know, it's my social media now. It's like I want to post what I want to post and do lives when I want to do lives. And some people have reached out to me saying, look, like, you need time to process it too, because I can see your emotions through, because it's like I have CPTSD, like I have signs of depression, anxiety. Like, it's gonna be hard for me to speak about this stuff, but you know what? I am healing myself. And I know that I am reaching others as well because of the people reaching out to me. So I'm not going to stop. And I know people don't want me to stop. I know they're just trying to protect me. But it's like I hadn't had control in my life for so long. It's like I am taking the control of my life. Like, I control when I want to post something. And people can think I'm annoying. That's fine. But it's my social media. It's my life. And this is the way I am healing. So I really want to spread awareness and help others see that it's okay to not be okay sometimes. And it's okay to have these mixed feelings about your abusive family, or your abusive ex-partners, like, part of my conversation with my 5-year-old tonight was, sometimes I wish I had a dad for them. My dad, my mom, my siblings, And one big thing with my family is there could be so much chaos happening, and it's someone's birthday and they're all there celebrating. It's someone's holiday, a holiday, and all of us, most of us, are together celebrating. Cousins are with cousins, and so that was the most confusing part, though. It's because it's like, are we not going to talk about what happened yesterday or last week, but we're together and it wasn't all birthdays or all holidays. Everything was confusing, but for the most part it was. So I feel like that's part of my trauma, though, because it's like I was wishing for things to be a certain way. So I would go like above and beyond sometimes to make things so good, because it wasn't all so good. And I would become obsessed with making sure it was so good. So, just confusing. And, I'm glad I was able to have this conversation with my son tonight. And he's like, Mom, I know Father's Day is confusing. But he was getting so was I, so triggered today, because everywhere we went, everyone's with their dad, and even the stone he wanted to get me, like, Mom, I want this stone that says Mom. It's like, I know I'm his mom, and so I got it for him, and it was beautiful and it touched me, but at the same time, it's like, I wasn't always Mom. Like, I have a mom. Like, Mom belonged to my mom first. So it's like, I can't even not be called Mom without thinking about my mom. And it's not that I don't want to think about her. It's that I love her for who she is. But I can't bring that person out. That real deep, beautiful person that she is, to come out. To be the mom that I need. Same with my dad. I can't make that happen. So even with all of the abuse, you can still have memories that are good, and have a desire for that person that you wish you could have a connection with. So those parts of them that you did see for glimpses of time, that's what you miss. That's what's difficult. So I was gonna post a story, and then I'm like, I don't know. Then I was like, maybe I'll go live. And I'm like, no. So I'll post this later on my IGTV, but if you listened, thank you. Yeah. So I definitely celebrated me today. And a lot of strangers were just the kindest people. For instance, going on the ferry, I got to the ferry and I'm like, I need a ticket. Like, I don't know what I'm doing. But I'm like, I have 3 kids. Everybody sees me. I have a double stroller, you know. My 5-year-old, like, just wants to help with everything. So I walk in. I'm like, I need a ticket for the ferry. And they're like, yeah, the kids are free. I'm like, okay. And then this woman behind the ticket area walks over to where I was buying tickets and just goes, these 2 tickets fell on the floor. These are for you now. I'm like, what is happening? Okay, thank you so much. I still to this day have no idea how much a ferry ticket is because my mom paid for that last year. So I'm like, this is just. And before that, taking the buses to get there, you know, the guys doing the bus are putting all the strollers and everything that I need. I packed my lunches, and it's just so, I know part of it's their job, but it's just so kind. You know, leaving, the bus driver was like, let me drive you closer to the area where your car is, so it's less for you to do. I'm like, thank you so much. Like, sometimes it can be triggering because they're like, oh, you have your hands full. And other times it's like, people are very compassionate. They truly care. They truly see, like, wow, look at this mom taking her kids to Martha's Vineyard. And sometimes it's like I need that reminder because I feel like I'm not good enough half the time. And part of that's my trauma and what my family's told me. And the other part of it is, you know, self-doubt. So it's nice to see when others see me for who I am. So overall, beautiful day, even with the amount of emotions I expressed. Just very grateful to be a mom to my kids and to be evolving every day. Even if I have setbacks, I'm evolving every day. So thanks for listening, guys, and take care.